أهلا بكم من جديد حضورنا الكريم. مثولي أمامكم في هذه اللحظة يعني اقتراب بدء مراسم حفل الافتتاح، ولكي نبدأ بذلك سندعوكم في البداية لمشاهدة هذا الفيديو التالي عن مسيرة إنجازات منتدى دبي العالمي لإدارة المشاريع منذ انطلاقته وحتى الدورة 11 في رحلة راسخة نحو الريادة والابتكار واستشراف المستقبل. نتمنى لكم مشاهدة ممتعة.
دولة الإمارات قدمت تجربة عالمية رائدة في تصميم المستقبل من خلال رؤية جعلتها في مصاف أفضل الدول المستعدة للمستقبل. المستقبل ليس صدفة، بل مشروع يبنى بإرادة ويدار بالرؤية وينجز بالشغف. هنا تبدأ الحكاية، حكاية مدينة لا تكتفي بالحلم بل تحوله إلى مشروع يرسم المستقبل. مشاريع كبرى رسخت مكانة دبي كمركز عالمي للتجارة والاستثمار. مشاريع سياحية استثنائية تروي قصة الابتكار وروعة التصميم. بنية تحتية متطورة تضاهي أكثر مدن العالم تقدما، تخدم الحاضر وتحتضن المستقبل. وبمنهج قيادي استباقي من صاحب السمو الشيخ محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم نائب رئيس الدولة رئيس مجلس الوزراء حاكم دبي رعاه الله، وبرعاية كريمة من سمو الشيخ حمدان بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم ولي عهد دبي نائب رئيس مجلس الوزراء وزير الدفاع رئيس المجلس التنفيذي لإمارة دبي، وسمو الشيخ مكتوم بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم النائب الأول لحاكم دبي نائب رئيس مجلس الوزراء وزير المالية. يواصل منتدى دبي العالمي لإدارة المشاريع في دورته 11 ترسيخ مفهوم تقارب المجتمعات. المنتدى يجمع الخبرات العالمية والمحلية لتوحيد الجهود نحو مستقبل قائم على التعاون والابتكار.
دبي أفضل مدينة للحياة في العالم.
Using the technology so that the trade worldwide will benefit.
The challenge is massive.
تعزيز مسيرة التنمية الشاملة.
It allows the economy to thrive even more.
Plan, build and operate.
أن احنا عندنا قيادة ملهمة.
We have discussed the most magnificent technological advances in project management.
يسلط المنتدى الضوء على العديد من المحاور التي تشكل جوهر التحول في المشهد العالمي لإدارة المشاريع، كالتحول الرقمي والوظائف المستقبلية والتركيز على المتعاملين والتوجهات المستقبلية والتكنولوجيا والمدينة المستدامة. هنا حيث تتحول الطموحات إلى تخطيط وتصبح إدارة المشاريع فناً وعلماً ونبضاً للتطور ومنصة توحد المجتمعات من خلال جسور استثنائية لبناء مشاريع رائدة وتحقيق منفعة مشتركة. فنحن جميعاً شركاء في صناعة المستقبل، نرسمه بجرأة ونبنيه بإصرار ونحوله إلى واقع يليق بطموحاتنا. مرحبا بكم في دبي، حيث لا ننتظر المستقبل بل نصنعه، وتصبح الشراكة نهجا يربط المعرفة الدولية بالابتكار المحلي لتحويل المشاريع إلى منصة توحد المجتمعات وتدفع العالم نحو مستقبل أفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سمو الشيخ أحمد بن محمد بن راشد آل مكتوم، النائب الثاني لحاكم دبي، أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، الحضور الكريم من السادة والسيدات، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسرنا أن نرحب بكم في مراسم افتتاح الدورة 11 من منتدى دبي العالمي لإدارة المشاريع تحت شعار تقارب المجتمعات، متمنين لكم تجربة ثرية بالمعرفة وملهمة بالأفكار. هذا الحدث الذي يجمع العقول القيادية والخبرات المتخصصة في مدينة لم يكن النجاح فيها صدفة، بل نتيجة رؤية واضحة وتخطيط مدروس وإدارة مشاريع استثنائية. ومن هذا المنطلق كان هناك تخطيط مدروس للجلسة الافتتاحية المقبلة. حضورنا الكريم، ضيفنا اليوم ليس مجرد بطل رياضي، بل نموذج حي لقيادة الذات وإدارة المسار وتحويل الفشل إلى نقطة انطلاق جديدة. نستضيف اليوم قائدا يعرف أن أعظم الانتصارات لا تصنع في لحظة الفوز، بل في رحلة التخطيط والصمود والتنفيذ تحت الضغط. هو أحد أعظم أساطير كرة المضرب في التاريخ، ورمز عالمي للإصرار والقدرة على النهوض داخل الملعب وخارجه. أيها الحضور الكريم، فلنرحب سويا بالمتحدث الرئيسي السيد أغاسي، لاعب تنس أمريكي وبطل الغراند سلام 8 مرات والفائز بالميدالية الذهبية الأولمبية. كما نرحب أيضا بالمحاورة في هذه الجلسة السيدة شيرين متولي، فلنكرمهم بترحيب منكم.
Andre, welcome. Amazing to have you. Please come through. Assalamu alaikum, ahlan marhaba bikum. Your Highness, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. I'm Shireen Mutwali, and it's an absolute pleasure to moderate the opening ceremony of the 11th edition of the Dubai International Project Management Forum right here. And we couldn't have created a better opening ceremony than to have the legend, Andre Agassi himself here. Andre, I think I speak on behalf of everybody in this room when I say it's an absolute pleasure to have you back in Dubai and to get inside and to get up close and personal, to get inside that incredible mind of yours. So, kick-starting, I'm not sure if you guys noticed, this morning Andre posted a throwback, and I have to mention this because it was absolutely wonderful. It was a throwback back to 2005, maybe you can tell us more, where he got to play a friendly game with Roger Federer up on that incredible helipad at the Burj Al Arab with Dubai, this incredible Dubai landscape. And I want you to take us there. Can you take us there for a moment?
Absolutely, I can, but I want to start by saying I'm not really short. You are very tall, by the way. No, I am a little bit short, but yes, I have loved coming to Dubai for many years and still do. But my first trip here, I had the privilege of the Bear Arabs to be allowed to play tennis with the top 2 tennis players in the world at the time, Roger Federer and myself. So they built a tennis court on the helipad on top of the hotel. And today when I was welcomed so kindly, they put me in a room that allowed me to see where I first stayed when I came to Dubai. And I looked up to this helipad and remembered how scared I was, first of all. We had to cancel the first day because it was too windy. The second day we managed to get up there. We managed to play tennis back and forth. I've spent my whole life playing tennis, standing on the baseline, not giving up any space, and I can assure you, up that high, the baseline was never more important to me, because I knew if I was standing on that baseline, I was not falling over the side. So it's a very amazing experience not too many people get to have.
Absolutely.
But it was a great marketing tool for sports in Dubai, which at the time, tennis was a big advancement to be here.
I think it's one of those epic moments that we all reflect upon. Now, Andre, what can I say about you? There's too many accolades. We've got 8 Grand Slams. You've been ranked as the #1 tennis player in the world, Olympic gold medal. But beyond the court, you have impacted tens of thousands of students with your foundation. With all of this, when you sit here now and reflect upon all those achievements, how do you feel and what comes to mind? What has been some of the major highlights that you'll always keep?
My biggest accomplishment was manage to be #1 in the world while at the same time #2 in my own house. So my wife has achieved way more than me, which is why I don't bring my trophies home. Because if I bring my trophies home, she brings her homes, and the math doesn't work out too good. But from an accomplishment standpoint, I would have to say winning Grand Slams, giving people memories for a few hours, pales in comparison to changing the trajectory of a child's life, because you're actually impacting generations. When you expect a lot from a child, it means you think a lot of a child, and they think a lot of themselves, and they grow up to hold that same accountability to their own children, and it affects generations. So my life after tennis allowed me the opportunity to find a way to build about 130 schools for the most underprivileged children throughout America.
Incredible.
And to give these economically challenged area a chance at an equitable education.
Yeah.
So for me, this has been what I'm most proud about.
Fantastic. Can I get a big round of applause? That was amazing. One thing that I absolutely love about what you did very much early on in your career was at 24 that you created your foundation, which is now the Andre Agassi Foundation for Education, when you first set up your first school. Why, one prominent thing that comes to mind is why education? You could have invested in multiple other philanthropy courses. Why education?
Well, I would have to say the simple answer would be I focus on education because of my own lack of education. My lack of education came with a lack of choice in my life. I wrote a memoir. Yeah. Without education, there is no choice. I wrote in my memoir a lot of things that people thought were controversial, but none more controversial than the first page where I talked about hating tennis with a dark and secret passion. I was the youngest of 4. My father is from Iran. He came to America at 18, didn't speak a word of English, and he saw tennis as the fastest road to the American dream. So I saw what tennis did to the relationships in my house, to my brother, to my sisters, to my father, and I quickly concluded, being the youngest, that my only way out was to succeed. So I think every decision we make in life is based out of 2 motivating factors. It's either fear or it's love. I spent the first half of my life, certainly the first half of my tennis career, winning, playing out of fear. And when I got to #1 in the world, I realized that there was no there for me and the prison that those lines always represented, and I had to find my reason. And when I saw these children that don't have education, that don't have the luxury of complaining about being #1 in the world at something, when they were relegated to crime, when they were relegated to drugs, when they were relegated to their economical environment of parents not being able to break the cycle, incarcerations, I saw in those children me, somebody that didn't have choice, but somebody who really didn't have choice. So I made it my mission to give them an opportunity for an equitable education, that hope can come through this. I raised about $185 million of philanthropic dollars, and at 141 in the world, after being #1 in the world, I found my reason for the first time. And for the first time, I stepped back on the court, and people thought I was humbled. I wasn't humbled then. I was humbled when I was on my demise. I was actually inspired then by a team that I was connected to, by a team that was bigger than me and more important than me. And it gave me a chance at my second career. It gave me a chance at my second life. It gave me a chance to meet my beautiful wife. It gave me a chance to raise my children when most people are raising their own business. And it started to repay me in many ways. So however one defines success, after this, I experienced success on a lot of levels.
Oh, I see that philanthropy is what really resets you. Amazing. Now, how do you, when I look at being the #1 tennis player in the world, I see that as a project in itself, right? It is a project. You have strategy, you have team, you have milestones, evaluations, you have resets. Tell us how you've been able to apply some of those project management techniques. I want to apply it because we have thousands now of project management leaders in the room. I want to pass some of, I guess, your experience. How do you apply now, and which techniques do you currently still use that you take away from your tennis career and you implement it into your institutions and your foundations?
Well, certainly I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still applying, I'm still...
You all are, right?
Yes, trying to make myself better. What I can tell you about tennis that seems very hard for the person from the outside to recognize is that you actually don't... Sports is a metaphor for life. And in tennis, what people don't realize is you don't actually have to be good. You just have to be better than one person. And so what does that really mean, right? It means problem solving at its finest. It means stepping out onto a tennis court and being more prepared than your potential opponent. It means being willing to push yourself harder. It means training smarter or longer. It means resting better. So you live a life away from the court 24 hours, far away from the spotlight, where you're literally fighting an imaginary scenario where you're going to be measured against one other person against the world. Mm-hmm. So what that teaches you to do is it teaches you over time to live excellent, to take no decision lightly, to understand the importance of every choice you make, to ask yourself to be the most of yourself in every little way that you can, so that when you step onto a tennis court, you can leave it all out there. And to learn that failure's okay, to not be scared of failure, but to refuse to live with regret. So ultimately it teaches you to be a tortured perfectionist, somebody who never feels like it's done quite as good as it can be done, even though you may be proud of what you were able to accomplish. And that's the muscle that I take on with myself. And when it comes to building my team, or when it comes to teamwork, or it starts, Gandhi had a great quote. He says, become the change you want to see. And so what I would always lead with was the leap of faith that I'm going to be self-aware enough to know my strengths and to know my weaknesses. I'm going to put people in my life that can fill the gaps of my weaknesses. I'm going to give them not just accountability and responsibility for that, but I'm also going to give them authority. I'm going to give them the latitude to execute what it is they're responsible for. Therefore, I allow them the respect to be the best of themselves. And so I end up pushing them to ask of themselves what I'm willing to ask of myself. Mm-hmm. So there's leadership in it. At the same time, you're asking so much more from others. And by the way, the flies here are just as rude as the ones where I live.
They like you. Can I get a big round of applause, please, for Andre for that? That was amazing. Really great advice. Really project out there what you would do yourself, and I think that's really great advice for everybody. I know that we've just run out of time for this specific session, and I know we're going to do a very small pause, and then we're going to reconvene and go much deeper, right? Believe so. I think we've got, Yusuf is coming up, and then we're going to reconvene and really dive deep, greater into the discussion about how your career in tennis has really impacted now what you're doing with the Andre Agassi Foundation for Education. Big round of applause, please, for Andre Agassi.
الشكر الجزيل للسيد أندري أغاسي وأيضا للسيدة شيرين متولي. Thank you Mr. Andre. والآن ندعو السيد أندري للتقدم بالتقاط صورة تذكارية مع سمو الشيخ أحمد بن محمد بن راشد. We'd like to ask Mr. Andre to step forward for a group picture to document this memory in a photo. ومن هنا نمد شكرنا الجزيل لسمو الشيخ أحمد بن محمد بن راشد المكتوم على تشريفه لنا هذا الحدث بافتتاح. حضورنا الكريم، أرجو منكم البقاء معنا حيث نستكمل على الفور مجريات حدثنا في يومه الأول في لحظات.